Relentless solution focus. Train your mind to conquer stress, pressure, and underperformance by Jason Selk and Ellen Reed. Adopting a relentless solution-focused mindset can help us reverse our tendency towards negative thought patterns. Have you ever struggled to maintain a positive attitude, particularly in the face of adversity? Do you feel like you are fighting an uphill battle? If you do, take comfort in knowing that you are not the only one. It is simply a characteristic of human brains to focus more on problems than solutions. This is referred to as problem-centric thought, or PCT. PCT is so ingrained in us that we often fail to recognize our own negativity. However, this type of thinking is not beneficial for us. Pessimistic thoughts can be detrimental, restricting our potential and enhancing our stress levels. The bright side is, we have the power to resist it. By embracing a relentless solution-focused mindset, also known as RSF, we train ourselves to concentrate on solutions instead of problems. You might think that RSF is just about fostering a positive outlook, but there is so much more to it than just that. RSF enables us to identify the positive aspects of our lives and concentrate on enhancing our conditions. So, how do we implement RSF? First and foremost, we need to govern our thoughts. It is essential to remember that our brains can only fully concentrate on one thing at a time. When our minds are cluttered with challenges, we fail to think about potential solutions as we are trapped in a whirlwind of negativity. Therefore, instead of focusing on the problem, we need to shift our attention to the solution. Justin, a former client of Selk, serves as an example of this method's effectiveness. Justin was successful in his career, but it was taking a toll on his family life. He wished to establish a better equilibrium between his work and personal life. He soon figured out a solution to start work an hour earlier every day. However, implementing this plan was not as easy as he had anticipated. Justin discovered he was not a morning person and found it challenging to wake up at 6 a.m. every day. Rather than dwelling on the difficulty of rising early, Justin decided to explore other solutions. He convinced himself that he needed to adapt to becoming a morning person. He chose to go to bed earlier on weekdays, allowing himself a bit of leeway on the weekends. With this adoption of the relentless solution-focused mindset, Justin proudly claimed his transformation into a morning person after about 6 months. By arriving at the office just 1 hour earlier, he managed to leave work 2 hours earlier, gaining precious time and energy to devote to his family. Shift your focus. Zero in on solutions, not problems. Common wisdom suggests that to find a solution, we must first thoroughly understand the problem. However, this belief does not always hold true. Overthinking problems can sometimes make them seem larger and more overwhelming than they really are. They can take over our thoughts and foster cycles of negativity, thereby giving rise to problem-centric thought. Instead of leading to solutions, concentrating on problems typically breeds more complications. Consider the example of a man named Albert, a former client of Selk. Albert let his workplace problems consume him. Everything started with Albert's belief that a coworker was not fond of him. Instead of ignoring the negativity, he constantly focused on it, leading to an escalating feeling of anger and frustration. This resulted in an unhealthy obsession with his coworker as he started to compulsively compare their work performances multiple times a day. It even started affecting his personal life, constantly talking about his coworker. So, how did Selk assist him? He advised Albert to bypass the problem and start searching for a solution. For Albert, this meant less frequently comparing his work performance to that of his coworker. Over time, Albert managed to reduce him thinking about his coworker to just a once-a-week planned exercise. As a result, he started feeling more positive and happier. And his work performance even increased by 30% over the next 11 months. So, if you find yourself struggling with an all-consuming problem like Albert, ask yourself this question. To progress in life, what is the first step I can take? Of course, if you need to briefly evaluate the problem, do so, but limit that time to roughly 60 seconds before consciously redirecting your thoughts to solutions. Famed NFL coach Bill Belichick identifies rapid problem recognition as one of his critical performance abilities. He understands that consistent success at the highest level requires the acknowledgement of both strengths and areas for improvement. For instance, after an impressive play, Belichick sometimes probes his players for any potential issues. Often, the problem boils down to the fact that some team members have failed to acknowledge or appreciate the efforts of other team members. Given his consistent focus on solutions, it is hardly surprising that Belichick has won 6 Super Bowl titles as a head coach, and that is a record achievement in the NFL. Adopt a RSF mindset. Replace problem-focused thoughts with solution-focused alternatives. Imagine you are given a definitive way to reduce your risk of serious illnesses like cancer, heart disease, and stroke. Would you accept the offer? Most likely, you would. Interestingly, studies have shown that people who incorporate a relentless solution-focused mindset into their lives tend to have improved health, happiness, and success. Specifically, by adopting RSF, they reduce the risk of cancer by 16%, heart disease by 38%, and stroke by 39%. Additionally, it can enhance sleep quality, aid in forming friendships, and boost your chances of achieving success. But what is the main function of the RSF mindset? Incorporating an RSF mindset nurtures mental resilience and provides a healthier alternative to problem-centric thought. But why is problem-centric thought, or PCT, so detrimental? It appears that dwelling on problems triggers a surge of cortisol in our bloodstream, inducing negative emotions like fear, anger, and stress. It can even affect our brain's functioning, making us prone to ignorance and poor decision making. Anytime we experience stress, anxiety, fear, anger, depression, or guilt, it is a signal that we need to infuse RSF into our lives. Now, you might ask, why is RSF so beneficial? As it turns out, focusing on solutions encourages the release of feel-good neurotransmitters like dopamine, serotonin, and norepinephrine in our brain. These chemicals boost our motivation and optimize our brain's performance. To reap these benefits, we need to master the art of controlling our thoughts, because our thoughts primarily shape our actions and thus our reality. Fortunately, there is a simple method to start enjoying the benefits of RSF. The trick lies in swapping all negative thoughts with solution-focused thinking within 60 seconds. The quicker we execute this shift, the less chance there is for that dirty cortisol to inhibit our decision-making abilities. Altering our thought patterns within 60 seconds allows us to acknowledge the commencement of a negative cycle without letting it spiral out of control. Now you might be thinking, this is just how I am. I don't believe I can change. Well, you need not worry. Our brains possess the remarkable ability to adapt and evolve throughout our lives. You can train your brain to default to RSF, replacing PCT as your standard approach to problem solving. Free yourself from negative thinking by identifying a simple improvement action. Influence what you can and let go of what you cannot. Most of us have heard wisdom similar to this at some point in our lives. While we cannot dictate the hardships we face, we do have control over our reactions. The core of the matter is usually not the problem itself, but our response to it. That is why a zeroing in on solutions requires mental resilience. Persistently seeking solutions is the prime key to success. But how do we transition from problem-centric thoughts to a relentless solution-focused mindset? This requires using the RSF tool effectively. The charm of the RSF tool lies in its straightforwardness. By focusing on a single action you can undertake to better your circumstances, you gain control over your thoughts, thereby overcoming problem-centric thoughts. However, it is not always as straightforward as it may seem. Often, we may have to employ the RSF tool numerous times until we discover an effective solution. This is where persistence plays its part. Let us consider an example where Selk was disheartened to see brown patches on his lawn, while his neighbor's lawn flourished in green. As he was mowing, negative thoughts engulfed him until he recognized that he was entrapped in a problem-centric thinking pattern. He then utilized the RSF tool, posing a question to himself. What is the one thing I can do to improve this situation? Initially, he thought of bringing in a professional lawn service, but the costs were prohibitive. So he had to revisit the question again. On his fourth attempt, he settled on a practical solution. He sought advice from his neighbor. The neighbor shared valuable tips and tricks which helped revive his own lawn's health. By repeatedly using the RSF tool, he finally discovered a workable solution. Undoubtedly, there will always be persistent issues in our lives that seem unsolvable. However, every situation can be enhanced. Hence, our objective should always be improvement. For instance, when confronted with seemingly insurmountable problems, it is a common response for us to adopt a wait-and-see approach. This passive strategy clearly does not align with the RSF mindset. We should always maintain a proactive mindset and attitude aiming to improve what we can. Instead of passively waiting for life to improve, we should actively take steps to make it better. After all, persistence is all about taking action and not yielding to obstacles. Master tough challenges by breaking them down into smaller tasks. You might be familiar with the saying, "Look after the pennies, and the dollars will look after themselves." Essentially, it means that concentrating on small victories will gradually accumulate into significant successes over time. Yet, we often find ourselves doing just the opposite. We are so consumed with the grand scheme of things that we overlook the smaller components. Consequently, our problems might seem overwhelming and beyond resolution. However, there is a simple strategy to manage such situations. Just ask yourself, what is the initial step that will assist me in navigating this situation? We frequently expect our minds to operate at full capacity. However, sometimes doing less is the key to achieving more. Let us consider the case of James, an investment consultant. James found himself in distress because the markets had dropped by 30%. As a result, he had to personally communicate with all his clients to reassure them that things were okay. Considering that James had close to 400 clients, this appeared to be an impossible endeavor. Predictably, his self-confidence declined and his stress levels rose significantly. To be more effective, James started by doing less. Initially, he determined his primary task for each day. This included making just 3 client calls. Eventually, he pinpointed the most critical message clients needed to hear. This strategy reduced the duration of the calls, enabling James to enlist his 2 assistants' support. Within the span of 3 weeks, James had reached out to every single one of his clients. If you are confronted with a similarly intimidating task, try breaking it into smaller tasks and then identify your first step. This should be a manageable, practical segment of the task that you can immediately get started on. Once you are confident that you have made headway on the first part of this, it is now time to tackle the remaining aspects of your problem. By addressing it one small step at a time, you will not be overwhelmed by the magnitude of the task ahead of you. Focusing on even the most minute improvements helps us steer clear of the stress associated with the pursuit of perfection, leading to superior decision-making and outcomes. Cultivate the RSF mindset by developing a strategy. Do you have a clear vision of where you want to see yourself in the next 5 years? Have you pinpointed the 2 most crucial daily tasks that will help you achieve this vision? These questions require some thought. Prosperity does not occur by chance. To genuinely incorporate the RSF mindset, a consistent effort is required. The most effective method to do this is to devise a plan. Fortunately, there is a simple formula to apply to your plan. Vision plus integrity equals happiness. Using this equation with your specific plan can lead you to recognize what truly matters. Let us begin by addressing the first component of the formula. This is our vision, or the direction we want to take our life. It is composed of our long-term and short-term objectives. To identify the former, consider the following questions. What is your life's purpose? What are your priorities? For instance, Selk's purpose is to find love and assist others. Next, reflect on your long-term vision as it relates to your self-perception. This should be a comprehensive image of who you aspire to be and the life you hope to lead in 3 to 10 years. It is crucial that this aligns with your life's purpose. Once you have a comprehensive understanding of your long-term vision, it is time to shift your focus to the short term. This comprises a result-driven goal that you can achieve within a year. It could center on the income you hope to earn this year or the weight you aim to shed by year's end. This goal should be realistic and achievable. Set one professional and one personal goal. Having defined our long and short-term visions, let us turn to the integrity part of the equation. This includes the crucial task that we need to perform every day to fulfill our vision. Ask yourself, what is the single most critical daily activity I can undertake to achieve my personal and professional goals? For instance, if your objective is to lose 10 pounds by the end of the year, the key activity could be engaging in 30 minutes of cardiovascular exercise 5 times a week. Alternatively, if your aim is to rank among the top 10% of performers in your firm the next year, then you might plan to dedicate an additional 30 minutes each day to preparing presentations. Letting go of perfection, acknowledging strengths, and embracing improvement. After accomplishing a task, do you pat yourself on the back for what you have achieved and simultaneously reflect on areas where you might do better? If so, you are embodying the RSF mindset. However, if you overlook your achievements and only spotlight your weaknesses, there could still be a lot of room for growth. A fixation on weaknesses is a hallmark of a perfectionist mindset. A mindset that often leads us to ignore our accomplishments, big or small. As a result, we forget to reassure ourselves of the many possibilities for success as well as the successes we have already achieved. This, in turn, undermines our self-confidence, our belief in our capabilities, and this can have a ripple effect on our future performance. So, how can one overcome this counterproductive mentality? First, it is crucial to pinpoint how you have successfully completed tasks. You might even have to compel yourself to do so. However, it is essential to celebrate yourself, even if your achievement is seemingly quite small. Because small victories can be found in almost any situation, whether it is reaching your workspace a few minutes earlier, expressing love to your partner via a text message in the middle of the day, or resisting the temptation of that yummy dessert. By recognizing these small victories, we consciously train our mind. The more we focus on our victories, the more instinctive it becomes to spot out future everyday victories, and our self-confidence subsequently increases as we feel like a winner. Secondly, we must harbor an insatiable desire for improvement. Selk recalls interviewing for the position of Director of Sports Psychology with a professional baseball team in 2006. During the interview, he delivered a talk on mental toughness to the coach and team, including several superstar players at the height of their career. At that time, Selk was relatively unknown and had not yet penned his first book. However, he was pleasantly surprised to notice these elite athletes taking notes halfway through his presentation. Despite being some of the world's top athletes, they were still actively seeking new ways to improve. In the following years, Selk observed a similar trait in other highly successful individuals. They are constantly exploring ways to better themselves, even if the improvement is minor. Embrace the mental workout, your daily ticket to victory. We all understand the value of physical exercise. But did you realize that your brain too needs regular workouts to stay in top shape and perform at its peak? In fact, such mental exercise is vital in combating problem-centric thinking. One effective exercise is the mental workout. This groundbreaking mental conditioning tool was initially designed to teach athletes how to sustain their mental resilience during high-pressure competitions. It is similar to weightlifting for the mind. The mental workout is composed of 5 steps, requiring a mere 1 minute and 40 seconds to complete. By incorporating it into your daily routine, you can boost your mental resilience, concentration, and confidence. It also serves as a powerful aid in cultivating a relentless, solution-focused mindset. The first and final steps are the same. Practice centering breaths. A centering breath is a deep, intentional breath that lowers your heart rate and facilitates better thought control. It involves inhaling for 6 seconds, holding for 2, and then exhaling for 7 seconds. Next, you need to chant your personal affirmation. This is a concise mantra, no longer than 3 sentences, that aligns with your life's ambitions. For example, you might say, I am fit, self-assured, and powerful. I approach every day with zeal. Nothing can stop me. After repeating your mantra twice, it is time to run your personal highlights reel. This comprises roughly 60 seconds of visualization divided into two 30-second segments. Devote the first segment to picturing yourself living your dream life in 3 to 10 years. The second segment should be spent visualizing your success and triumphs in the upcoming 24 hours. Renowned golfer Jack Nicklaus once claimed he had never taken a shot, even during practice, without first visualizing it vividly in his mind. Studies suggest that without regular visualization, individuals cannot perform at their maximum potential. After your visualization, repeat your personal affirmation and conclude with a final centering breath. This routine, despite only taking 100 seconds, can have far-reaching effects. This concludes Relentless Solution Focus.